This is Unit 3.5, your character analysis on To Kill a Mockingbird. This PowerPoint should help you throughout the unit. Remember that you have a different essay. So I wanted to make this PowerPoint, this video, to kind of get you started. So if any questions that you do have, this should answer all those questions for you. This PowerPoint is something you can look at as you're working to kind of help you. This video is on the PowerPoint, and I'm not gonna watch it right now, but I want you to watch it. It's about 8 minutes. It's a English teacher who kind of explains what it means to use character analysis, and I can later link to you a TED Talk that might help too. We can get started. So maybe you want to argue that the Mad Dog shows a deeper meaning to the novel in the case of Tom Robinson. So your character analysis would be of the dog and Tom Robinson. So this is my example of what your argument might look like. The first scenes introduce the theme of the Mad Dog and its importance to the novel. Jem and Scout have been bemoaning the fact that their father is the most uninteresting man in town. Our father, Scout tells us, didn't do anything. When he gives Jem and Scout air rifles for Christmas, he also refuses to teach them to shoot. This winter, however, is one of the amazing portents foreshadowing the trial of Tom Robinson and the emergence of Boo Radley. It snows for the first time in years. The Finch's neighbor, Miss Mowdy's house, burns down, and a dog named Tim Johnson appears in February in the main street of Maycomb. So, if you can't hear me or understand what I just said, I'm going to link all of my notes to this slide for you to look over. But what I want you to do in this character analysis is really point out either one or two people that are pivotal towards the novel and its plot. Okay, so my example was the Mad Dog and Tom Robinson, and we kind of talked about the connection between those two characters. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit and talk about your thesis statement, because I feel like your thesis statement is important in your argument. So your thesis, according to the MLA handbook, is a single sentence, note single, that formulates both your topic and your point of view. Sometimes you're going to find that you can't even write your thesis till you're done writing the paper, and that's okay. I just want you to have some sort of working thesis, and we've kind of gone over these slides before about a thesis, and I know you've done it before with the argumentative paper in quarter one, so I'm not too worried about that. One thing about this paper is I want you to include a counter argument. So a counter argument is vital in an argumentative paper because it's going to give you both sides of the argument. So let's say that I want to argue that Mr. Stellar hit my car. Okay, now that's one side of the argument. If you were to ask me, I would say, yes, Mr. Stellar hit my car. You can watch the cameras. However, if you ask Mr. Stellar, he's going to tell you that his wife was driving his car and hit my car. So you see two sides of every argument. But the point of the counter argument is that you get to tell me why it's incorrect, why that argument is not correct. Okay. One thing about this paper is I want you to avoid using summary. Okay, you can see on this little circle here, it talks about character analysis and what it means to identify or study a character. That could be pointing out their traits, their actions, their appearances, to really draw more than just a basic summary about the text. So you might ask, what is an analysis? And that should be answered in that video before, but I really like this TED Talk here because it kind of goes deeper in the meaning of an analysis. It pulls a text that you haven't read before. I use it as an example. But what you are doing is you might look at the basics. For example, we might say Atticus shot the Mad Dog. Right? It's a fact. We know that it happened. However, if you look beyond that, we know that the Mad Dog represents some of the racist people in Maycomb. Atticus shooting the Mad Dog really draws what we know as his defense against Tom Robinson, or his defense for Tom Robinson. Um, and if you want to make that connection, that would be cool. But I'm really excited to see what kind of things you come up with. And it's also linked here as well. So you'll have access to this whole PowerPoint. Now, you're probably going to want to start with your introductory paragraph in your formal outline, okay? So in this introductory paragraph, I pulled this from one of my former students, and I thought it was a really good example of something you could follow along to. So in this yellow highlight here, we have her hook. So the hook is the first thing in your introductory paragraph, and if you're interested, this slide here, it's towards the beginning, kind of shows you everything you need to do in this upside down triangle, which we've all done before. So her hook asks, have you ever wondered what it is like to live a life as a monster? How does society view or even treat one in the life shown by all today? And then before she even tells me what book she's writing, she gives me this hook. This bridge here is going to tell me all of the information I need to know. Now, the only thing about this introduction that I do not like is that she uses a quote. I would avoid using quotes in your introduction. Just save it for the body. So she says, in the book Frankenstein, the Modern Day Prometheus, written by Mary Shelley, Frankenstein's monster has both similarities and differences compared to modern day monsters, such as Godzilla and King Kong. So you already know what she's going to argue, you know the book, you know who wrote the book, and you know who she's going to compare. So when we talk about that thesis statement, you want to answer questions like who, what, where, when, why, how. Now, those are a lot of questions you need to answer. However, they're going to do a really good job of helping you do that. So in that outline I give you, I answered those questions based on my fake argument, my example argument. Now, another thing is that when you are picking out your argument, I don't want you to focus so much right now on the quotes. When you turn your formal outline into me, I just want to see the basics, okay? Your formal outline is a guide, and you know that you've done the formal outline before. It's a guide for you to really kickstart your rough draft. So I'm going to pull up an example of a formal outline that I showed somebody the other day. What am I doing? I'm sorry. Give me 1 minute. And let's see. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to find it. Okay, you know what? I'm sorry. We're just going to go like this. Okay, I found it. Ignore that brief intermission. Okay, so this is an example of a formal outline that I really like because you know what's going on. You have his header here. His thesis is outlined at the top, so I know what your thesis is right away. And then when you get to introduction A, B, C, he answers those most important questions that we outlined before, and then he gets to his body and his conclusion. Now, here we have 5 paragraphs, and in your assignment, which I'm going to pull up, I ask for you to write 4 to 5 pages, okay? What I want to say briefly is, please don't worry about 5 paragraphs. Don't be like, oh my gosh, I have to do the introduction, body 1, 2, 3, and conclusion. Okay, I want to move you away from that 5 paragraph essay, especially because we're writing 4 to 5 pages. You will need 3 direct quotes and 1 quote from a secondary source. So I'm going to say 3 quotes from your To Kill a Mockingbird book and 1 from a secondary source. That's not too much. You'll be able to do it. And this whole assignment sheet is really going to answer any questions you have about the paper. Now, I've had some questions before in the past. I outline here motivation, actions, what did they say? The descriptions, names are here as well too. These are just going to guide you. I don't want you to feel like you have to answer these questions. They're just a guide, okay? So maybe you want to focus on what your character says. And let's say I'm looking at Atticus. Does the character appear to have a strong grasp of education? Do they use a lot of slang? Do they use generational phrases? Perhaps they speak as though they're a detective or a cheerleader. These are just to get you thinking. I don't want you to feel like you have to answer all of those questions, okay? Other than that, this video is really just a kickstart for you to get started on your outline. And remember, you have different due dates than everybody else, so please be mindful of those. If this video helped you, you felt like it was very helpful, please let me know because I can make more of them. But just know that I am going to be putting you together in groups when we do some group work. That way you can help each other, and I can help you a little more closely. So I will see you all tomorrow, and have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday.